This is not what we usually expect from Ibanez. It is not a super STRAT, it's more like a STRAT that's super. Hello, Michał here. EB Register is a journey to document every Ibanez guitar ever made. And today we're gonna do just that. Because I happen to have in my house the AZ224F. This is a guitar that I bought for my cousin. He was looking for one for a few months and I saw it locally and just bought it for him. I'm gonna ship it to him tomorrow. So we don't have much time. I clean it up, I set it up with 1046, my favorite strings. It plays great, but I'm not gonna play it because I suck. My cousin is much better musician and he's gonna enjoy it much more. This is not what we usually expect from Ibanez. It is not a super STRAT, it's more like a STRAT that's super. Ibanez AZ or AZ is a modern take on Stratocasters, kind of like Tom Anderson's or Sure's, but maybe a bit nicer on a budget. They just are not that expensive. Initially, when they came to the market in 2018, we had two sub-series. We had Prestige, made in Japan, a very high level of Ibanez guitars, and we had premiums, and this is an example of the premium guitar. They were made in Ibanez Indonesian premium factory. The story of this factory is pretty interesting because that was the first factory that Ibanez physically owned, because previously they built guitars and they were just like brand that subcontracted building guitars. Fujian is a separate company. A lot of Korean guitars were made by Chord and so on. And the same story with Indonesian guitars. The story is that they took some best luthiers from Fujian and hired them to teach Indonesian luthier how to build guitars. They wanted to have this lower price level with high quality. So we had a mix of guitars that used expensive brand pickups like the Marzio or Seymour Duncan. They had high quality hardware, for example, low pro edge bridges. We had gem guitars made in Indonesia and so on. But because of the lower cost of labor, they managed to keep them at more reasonable price. The AZ Prestige series and Premium are very similar. They have the same pickups, they have slightly different hardware. The obvious difference is that the Indonesian models have a stainless steel saddles and Japanese models have titanium saddles. The neck is a bit different. Both of them are roasted, but Japanese models seem a bit darker. They use S-Tech process, which is patented name of a company called Sendai Technologies. And also the tops on the Japanese guitars are much thicker. And overall, the AZ series was quite a big success for Ibanez. It put them on the map of those modern Stratocasters. It was very well received by the people who loved the brand, but it also opened it up to new markets. And 3 more years later, they introduced the single cut versions. And I talked about it in a video about history of Ibanez and the Telecaster shape, so check this one out. Later in 2021, they also added the more approachable kind of standard level guitars. They called AZES, like Essentials. They're still made in Indonesia, but they have much cheaper components, cheaper woods, and I haven't one in my hands, but I read very positive reviews that are decent guitars for a very low price point. It's nice to see that Ibanez also finally opened up this front, because they were pretty expensive guitars for Ibanez. Alright, so AZ224F, let's decode that name. We have 4 digits for Japanese Prestiges, 3 digits for Indonesian, so this is 224 is 3 digits. First 2 digits are always number of frets, so 22 here means 22 frets. And then 4, those comes from the mid-90s naming conventions for RGs, when we had 40 was HSS with the pick guard, 50 was HSH with the pick guard, 60 was HSS without anything, and so on. So those names cut 0 are the configuration. So 2024 will be 22 frets, and 4 is HSS with the pickguard, and F stands for the plain maple top. If you have like double humbucker 24 frets, it will be 24 2, because 2 comes from 20, which is a double humbucker. When you look at Prestige, they have 4 digits, so they just add 0 on the third position. So if you have like Prestige version of this guitar, that will be 2020-04F. And there's actually a model like that from 2018 in different colors, but it's basically like a analog to this one. So let's talk about timber. I mentioned already the roasted neck. It's obviously roasted maple. It looks a bit darker than regular maple, but also feels really nice. I really like the feeling of those roasted necks. Fingerboard is also maple. It's naked. It's not coated with anything. Its body is basswood, but it doesn't look like one. It's a very nice grainy basswood and very thin maple top. You could even call it veneer probably. The finish is called brown topaz burst, and it's really nice dark honey light brown burst. Really cool. It's definitely my favorite colors of all of those available for this model, and together with this nice top, it looks amazing. I think it's even nicer than my 3120, to be honest, which is 3120 in a vintage violin. Neck joint is very interesting. Ibanez calls it super all access neck joint, so it's even more streamlined than what we know from RGs, the all access neck joint. It's nice, deeply contoured, very good access to the higher frets. Just feels great and looks amazing. I really dig that. As you can see, headstock is also in the style of STRATs. It's not tilted back, it's just lowered down to allow better string tension. It has locking tuners. Those are Goto HAP. First of all, it's a guitar without locking nut because it's a single locking tremolo. So that's all useful for the tuning stability. But also it just makes the string changes super easy. Now that I played with them, I actually understand why people put them also on the guitars with the locking nut, because it just makes it so easy to do a quick string change. The bridge is a single locking kind of classic Fender style synchronized tremolo with an arm that clicks in, and you can lock the movement of the bar by just increasing the tension on the screw. It's made by Goto. It's called T1502. The Prestige line uses 1802 version, and I think the major difference is the titanium saddles, but I'm not that well versed in single locking tremolos as I am in double locking tremolos, which you can check in that video. The pickups are Seymour Duncan's Hyperions. They were made together by Ibanez and Seymour Duncan, especially for this line of guitars. The humbuckers are quite hot, the singles are nice. I really love the combination with the neck and middle pickup in series. In terms of electronics, we have volume and tone knobs, old school plastic STRAT style knobs. Everything is mounted on a pickguard, so you can remove all electronics with the pickguard. There is a 5-way switch and also this extra switch, I think called alter switch. The whole system is called Mix 9 switching, and it allows 9 different combinations of pickups. I mentioned the nut is non-locking, but it's a Graphtec Tusk XL. I think the Prestige series have a bone nut, so that's another difference between them. Kind of more prestige, if you will, material, also much more labor intensive. We have a raised back plate. It's not recessed into the body. The jack plate, because jack is a barrel jack, it's very nicely hidden into the body. As all premium series guitars, it comes in a semi-hard, thick foam, rectangular case, bag. I don't know how to call it. Alright, that was a quick one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this type of content, check out other videos in my catalog, and also feel free to subscribe. And see you in another episode of Document Every Ibanez Guitar Ever Made.